Hi everyone, my name is Priscilla and you're welcome to the Christian TV. Welcome everyone to another episode. Thank God for constant sprinkle of inspiration. If you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other videos while you're at it. And if you're a returning viewer, God bless you. God bless you. So today we're actually just going to talk about Christianity as a whole. I felt like, okay, if I wanted to talk about it, I wanted to just say what it means to me. I felt like a lot of us, even though like our lives are very different, some of the things we tend to face in Christianity are very similar, because when you hear other people's stories, it's always like, is it not the same? Like, for me, I grew up in the church, so I was kind of like introduced to Christianity early on, like at an early age. But like for the longest time, I did not know my stance in Christ, like who I was in Christ, where I was in Christ. I felt like I was worshiping a God I did not know and I couldn't see as well. Because, you know, as human beings, we tend to believe more in things that we can see. I also felt like I wasn't allowed to ask, because I also didn't understand why I was worshiping God. And I would ask and it would just be like, oh, just worship. Because there were times in my life I tried to fully turn to God, but I also didn't know how to read the Bible. I think even at the beginning, I didn't know how to pray. I felt like every time people described intimacy with God, I did not understand, because I didn't feel like I was inviting him into my life. I didn't know what it meant to be intimate with God. Like, how can I have a relationship with somebody I don't understand? Like, I didn't get that whole concept. And I felt lukewarm, but I didn't want to admit it. They would talk about the lukewarm Christians in a church, and I'll just be like, am I lukewarm? Maybe I am. Am I? Maybe I'm not. Constantly in my head. And the wildest part about all of this is that I felt like I didn't want to invite God into my personal life. I didn't want me being a Christian to take over my personal space. I wanted to feel and I wanted to be normal, or at least what I thought was normal at that time. I was scared to get closer to God because I didn't want to constantly ask myself, what am I doing? Is it a sin or is it not a sin? The closer I get to him, the more I would have to let go of certain things. And I felt like I was holding on to them for no reason. And I just didn't want to let go of them because it felt easier to like hold on to them. I kept on living my life in that constant, oh, I want to get closer to God, but I don't at the same time. It was just, I felt like that was the point in my life when my heart felt the heaviest. And it constantly made me depressed. Like that whole decision, that whole made me doubt myself. So I'll try and like do other things to like not focus on that, not focus on getting close to God. If I'm being real, everything else life had to offer had an expiry date on it. Like nothing could bring you peace. I wasn't contented. If I felt happy, it had a limit. I didn't feel peace. It felt like I was looking for that rest everywhere, every other person. Oh God. Like for some reason, I actually don't understand that whole point. Like there's literally an answer to all the problems, but I still don't want that. It reminded me so much of that verse, in him I find my rest. Because when I finally made God the center of my life, it felt like I was not hiding anymore. I could confidently be myself without feeling like I was holding something behind. Unapologetically myself. If the author of my life has accepted me as I am with all my flaws, no other person's opinion really matters. In Christ, I finally felt seen. It felt like a burden I did not even know I was carrying was fully lifted. You know when, that moment when you feel like you can breathe. I felt like I could finally breathe. Of course, it wasn't a straight path. It was off and on and off. Looking back at all the times I was off and on, what I noticed was that every time I came to God to like be serious, I realized I wasn't giving him all my heart. I would say, God, yeah, I've given you everything, that I will sacrifice everything for you. But to be honest, I was giving God 50%. Sometimes I want to say, okay, you know what, God, let's give you 70 so that you have the biggest share. Why am I trying to make something else share a room with the creator of my life? It did not make sense. And the thing is that these things happen, and only until you come out of it, you now realize how dumb it was. The things that were pulling me back still had a space in my heart. That was why I could never fully turn to God. Most times when you want to give your life to Christ, but you keep on coming back to that same thing, it's because you've not fully surrendered. As easy as it is to say surrender, it is very hard. The flesh is not going to sit down and let your spirit take over fully. The flesh is going to put up a fight. Yes. That's why you have to feed your spirit so that your spirit can overcome the flesh. It's so funny because I reached a point where I was like, you know what? No backsliding. It's now or never. I remember constantly thinking to myself, I will not be missing on Judgment Day. I was like, it's not me that they are going to say, depart from me. Oh no. So I decided to choose Christ. I decided to choose him. In life, we waste too much time trying to find the right way. Meanwhile, there's no right way. There's only Christ's way. There's only his way. Even though sometimes I do constantly want to fit into what the world prefers, I am tempted to take a break sometimes because let's be honest, it gets too real. You start to see things in a whole new light. The people that you felt you were among before, now you start to see them as people that just don't know the truth. It's like Paul said, I have been crucified in Christ. It's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. I went from feeling like I was forced to worship God to actually running to him. He always felt far. I was always telling myself my sins are too much for him to actually, there's no way he would want to be near to me, that everything I have done does not glorify him, so it makes more sense to not be in him. And I realized all those things were just lies I was feeding myself to get farther and farther away from him. Because the more I looked for him, the more I found him, even in the littlest of things, like things that I would look at before and not notice. I see him there. I see him in everything. Trust me, it's all still a process because I'm still dealing with that recurring thought that it's always like, oh, it's not that deep. As long as it has to do with your faith, it is that deep. It is actually that deep. Don't let anything just have access to your faith. So what I want to ask you is, what does Christianity mean to you? Because to me, Christianity means letting go of that burden, that shame. It means following Christ and dropping every idol, because there is literally nothing else worth following. Among every other thing in this world, it was only in him I found my peace, and it was only in him I found rest. There's this thing that people like to say, oh, Christianity is not the answer. To be honest, you are just being deceived. You are just blindly following God. You know the funny thing, why is the world so against you following the truth? It brings a lot of question as to why the world is really desperate about us denying Christ. Another thing that comes to my mind, then I say, okay, but what if heaven does not exist at the end of the day? What if Christ is not real at the end of the day? I still don't care, because do you not want me to follow you? Is it by force that I follow you? If heaven does not exist, I still don't care. Look at my face. Do I look like I care? You want me to follow a world that is full of anger, hatred, lust, unforgiveness, and these are the things that are constantly being promoted in our everyday life, but that's what you want me to follow. But somebody that brings me peace, you are constantly against that. The world is constantly against us. We should not be conformed to the pattern, because in as much as you want to do what seems normal, remember, it is only normal because the world makes it seem normal. So please, you have to stay active, because even if I die in Christ, I will surely live. So now the word of the day is, don't go looking for true peace outside of the hands that formed it. Remain in me and I in you. Thank you so much for staying to the end. I hope you got blessed. If you like this video, make sure to check out my channel and my other videos, and don't forget to subscribe, because you know the tea just keeps coming. And put on your notification so that whenever any new tea drops, you'll be informed. So don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, you. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Thanks so much for listening and staying to the end, and I will see you in my next video. And this is The Christian Tea.